Moving into a new home is supposed to feel like a fresh start. New walls, new routines, a blank space where nothing bad has happened yet. But sometimes the worst part about a new house is not knowing who was there before you. These are three disturbing true stories from people who realized their new home wasn't as empty as they thought. The first story comes from a couple in their late 20s who had just bought their first house together. It wasn't huge, just a small two-story place in a quiet neighborhood. Built in the early 90s, recently renovated, fresh paint, new floors. It felt perfect. The first week was normal, unpacking boxes, learning which light switch controlled what, getting used to the way the stairs creaked. On the eighth night, the wife woke up at 2:13 a.m. to the sound of a cabinet closing downstairs. At first, she assumed it was her husband, but he was asleep beside her. She lay there listening. A few seconds later, she heard it again, a slow, deliberate creak, like someone carefully shutting kitchen cabinet. She nudged her husband awake. They both sat in silence. Then came the sound of footsteps. Not loud, not rushed, just slow steps moving across the hardwood floor below their bedroom. Her husband grabbed a baseball bat and went downstairs while she stayed on the phone with police. Every light was off. The kitchen was empty. Nothing was out of place. They checked every room, every closet. No one. They convinced themselves it was the house settling. Until the next morning, every single kitchen cabinet was open. The second story was shared by a man who moved into a rental house alone after a breakup. He chose the place because it was cheap and close to work. The landlord had been eager to rent it out. The first strange thing happened on his second day. He was in the shower when he heard the bathroom door unlock. He was certain he had locked it. He turned off the water and listened. Silence. He stepped out, wrapped in a towel, and opened the door. No one, but the front door was slightly ajar. He thought maybe he hadn't closed it properly. That night, he set up a basic security camera facing the living room. At 3:37 a.m., he woke up to a notification. Motion detected. He opened the app and saw his living room. Empty. But something was wrong. One of his dining chairs had been moved. It was now positioned directly in front of the hallway leading to his bedroom, facing his door. He stared at the screen for a long time. The timestamp showed the chair had moved at 3:12 a.m. There was no visible person in the footage. Just the chair, sliding slowly into place. He didn't sleep at all. The next day, he contacted the landlord and asked if anyone else had keys. The landlord hesitated before answering, then admitted that the previous tenant had left abruptly, without returning their spare key. The third story happened to a family of four who relocated to a rural area for a quieter life. The house had been vacant for almost a year. They were told the previous owners had moved suddenly. The first few nights were peaceful. Then their youngest daughter started complaining about noises in her closet, scratching, whispering. They assumed it was animals in the walls. One night, the father decided to check thoroughly. He emptied the closet completely. Nothing unusual, but when he tapped on the back wall, it sounded hollow. He pushed harder. The panel shifted. Behind it was a small crawl space, big enough for someone to sit in. Inside, they found old food wrappers, a flashlight, and a blanket. Someone had been living inside their daughter's wall. Police investigated but found no one. No fingerprints, no clear timeline, just signs that someone had been there recently. The family moved out within weeks. There's something deeply unsettling about realizing your home isn't as private as you thought, that someone might know the layout better than you, that they might have watched you unpack, watched you sleep. A new home feels like a beginning, but sometimes it's just the start of something you never saw coming. And once you've experienced it, every creak in the wall sounds different. Every shadow feels closer. And the idea of being alone in your own house doesn't feel so certain anymore.